Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
That's what I tell them. I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. How to code, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles. Go take care of your business. Success Chronicles. It's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with the topic session. Oh, and this one's gonna be good with Lorna Osunsanmi. Man, the reason I think we thought of this is, both of us are involved in a lot. It's like it's so many things
Yes.
going on, lots on the plate. You know, things that have to
Spinning
take.
them. Spinning plate.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so if you don't mind, before we dive into it, just kind of mention some of the things as far as like, I know the last time we did a topic session, you talked about your background and what you do, but just talk about a couple of the things that you have on your plate so that we set the scene of why it's important to have focus.
Yeah, I set some goals to write some things, and then I'm tethered to a couple projects. So I'm collaborating with my mentor, which is fun to collaborate with a mentor, on a movie. So we're writing a movie together. And then I'm collaborating with another writer in a studio to develop a pilot. Then I have a pilot of my own I'm writing, a movie of my own I'm writing, a book of my own I'm writing. So there's a
Wow.
lot of writing happening. And then this is, I don't talk about this a whole lot because it's just a background thing, but it does consume quite a bit of time. But I'm working on my master's degree from Harvard Extension School in creative writing and literature to help me with my book. And that's been really a joy, but also quite a bit of work. So, yeah. And then, of course, I have my two kiddos, 11 and
Yeah,
9, the hubs.
yeah,
I'm a part of the sandwich generation, so I take care of my dad. He lives with me. So, yeah.
yeah,
And then I
man.
try
Just
and spend a little bit of time with my sister, who's also in town, and or who she lives fairly nearby. And I just yeah, that's
just hearing you talk about all that got me tired. I need, I need, I need a nap. You know?
But it's funny because I feel like a lot of people have these intense schedules. I don't
Yes.
believe I'm the only one.
No.
I
Right.
think if everybody sat back and took
Right.
stock of all the
Yep.
things they were doing and the things they wanted to accomplish, they would realize, oh my gosh, you know, but it's important to take stock because I do take stock regularly so that I can balance things out or try and, like we talked about last time with balance, not
Yeah.
even balance, but prioritize. Like some
Mhm.
things have to come first on this day. So I take stock so that each day I can prioritize and create an agenda, but also plan it so that I accomplish very specific goals. And so everything keeps moving. The train keeps moving.
I love that. You talked about like all of the things that you have on your plate, and all are important. Um, and you hit on balance and prioritizing and having the agendas and making lists and those specific tools that people can use. But within that, I believe that it requires an immense focus at a certain period of time for each of those, right? Like I don't think that, I mean, like we can know that we have those things coming up, right? But I don't know that, I think you have to, take time to do this. Okay, check. Okay, take time to do this. Okay, check. right? But if you just put it all on you at the same time, like it's just a heavy weight and
Yeah.
could end up being a burden for you because you don't focus at the right time. So let's just dive into like how do you define focus?
Um, okay, well, when people start, whenever I start doing something, I always just look at the dictionary definition.
Hmm.
Then I unpack what that means for me.
Yeah.
So dictionary wise, it's not too far off. It's a center of focus, it's a focal point, area of concentration. Even if you're talking about photography, it's the prevailing area of light where things get very clear,
Yeah.
where you put a spotlight on something, you see it very clearly. I love that one definition said to produce or create a clear visual definition.
Mhm.
And we create that sometimes with vision boards that sort of helps us focus our dreams and focus our aspirations. But even still, a vision board is still fairly broad. So, and all the things I listed are all very broad things to a degree, to writing screenplays and TV, to writing a book, and the greater aspiration to have and run a TV show, be a showrunner of my own show, or, that all requires like going back to the degree of focus and concentrating on one thing. And it's so interesting. I think last time I mentioned my husband has such a high degree of focus
Hmm.
because he can singularly work on one thing, which is incredible. And at one point, I was like working on a full-on TV writing career and working on a full-on television talk show hosting career, which I feel like you knew about. And then through the years of us being together, he was like, you can only do this, you can only get through the door. There's only one door in a house. You can't get through a house through the door and the window. Your body is not going to split. There's only one way in. Which way are you going to go? So I was like, oh, yeah, I'm trying to do two things at once. It's going to be really hard because it does require 100% of energy to propel yourself forward. And so I ultimately let the talk show hosting part of it go. And the priority went to my TV and film writing career. It gave me the most joy. It was very satisfying. Not that I didn't get an abundance of joy out of talk show hosting. I'm like doing this with you because I love it. Um, but I do think it'll circle back, and all the skills that I learned from hosting serves me in my writing career. But just in terms of focus, people will like we listed out things to do, right? We listed out the things that you should be doing, focusing on one thing and like creating a plan. But I think first you have to understand when you endeavor to be more focused to know that it's an every second, every minute of the day sort of thinking about and putting yourself in the focus gym is what I called it. Now that you got to put yourself in the focus gym. And I think people have to dedicate some measure of time to get more focused to like meditation and mindfulness. At least 5 minutes, because what that does is help you practice shutting out the noise. It helps you practice getting still. It helps you practice on being in the present moment. It helps you to get ready for when you say, I'm going to finish this thing. And with all the things that I am doing, like I will pick one thing to do for the month, or I will pick one script to work on, and I will only do that thing. I will now, that's where I am now. Before I try and rotate all of them. And sometimes I still do because I have deadlines on the pilot that I'm developing with the studio and the movie that I'm
Hmm.
collaborating with my mentor. So it's all happening at once. But depending on when the deadline date is, I'm going to put all my attention on this one project. get it done, get it to where it needs to be, go back to the other things. Put all my attention on that one thing until it's done, go back to the other thing, and just keep it in a steady rotation. And I did the spinning plates analogy because you're constantly spinning the plate and you're moving. This one's turning. Okay, it's good. This one's turning, 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 turning. You're making it move because you're focused on that one plate. And then, okay, that's good. Okay, I'm going to the other one. Ah! And that is going to go on for like, a year or so. And like I focused on the one pilot script that I was writing and I'm done. I finished it. I started aggressively probably in December, and it takes a while to like write it, but I've been working on the script for quite some time now. It's been percolating, breaking, developing it out in my head on paper for quite a few years, and it was time to just write it, and I just didn't want to delay it anymore. And so I focused on that. I wrote it. I sent it out to my fellow writers to get it done, and now I'm at final like read-throughs, and I can get it to my people soon. So first to say this out loud to a lot of people that I have a pilot script that I'm like pretty much done with. And but that does require you to I heard this from David Goggins, and you probably heard of David Goggins.
Oh yes.
But
Man.
um he was like, you need to be self-motivated to he was just speaking in broad terms. He was saying you need to be self-motivated, you need to be able to do things on your own, you need to be able to activate on your own. I think you need self-motivation to be focused. And I think you can apply it to any one specific thing, self-motivation. Yeah, broadly in terms, I think he is saying in everything be self-motivated, but I think you can't achieve your success if you can't at least be focused. And that requires a level of self-motivation, and you can't be expecting other people to say, sit down and do this, or because you don't have a deadline, you don't feel motivated to do it. There has to be a level of self-motivation, even for the things that no one is asking you for. No one's asking me for my pilot script. No one's asking me for a feature, my other feature. Only people are asking me for things are the things that I'm collaborating with others on, and that, there's a paycheck involved. But these other things, there is no, like, I'm working toward it, knowing I will get a paycheck, knowing that it will reward me. So the first step is creating a mindset, and creating a space for focus, like with meditation and mindfulness, and accepting that you need to shut everything out and be still. And then the next thing is to just focus on that thing, that one thing that has the priority that you need to get done most immediately, and let that hold the number one spot and sort of shut everything else out. And I mentioned David Goggins, but I'll also mention this. I don't know his name. It was an Instagram post by an
Mm.
Australian gentleman who had worked for Steve Jobs for many years. And
Mm.
the gentleman was saying he was very surprised about how many people lack focus. And he said that Steve was concerned that he wasn't as focused as he needed to be, and asked him, how many things have you said no to today? And the guy gave up a lot of sacrificial things. And Steve was like, no, you already didn't want to do these things. So that's not what I'm talking about. The things you say no to are the things that you hear and are deeply moved by, the things that you get excited about, the things you're like so like fired up to do. But you have this other thing you said you needed to finish. So that's the thing you say no to. And maybe you will circle back to it, but you can't say yes to it when you're imminently involved in the one thing you are focused on. Now, I think when you have a bigger company and there is a whole like are in like a development section
Yeah.
where,
Yeah.
research and
Divisions.
development,
Yeah.
you can send that, you can earmark it to R&D before it comes back to your desk. But if you're the only person managing this thing, then you got to finish the one thing on your plate before you add something else new to it. And I'm queen of adding things new. So I felt him. That's why I said it is a gym. I feel like I finally come to the place where I can focus on the thing that I said is the most important to me at
Mhm.
any given moment. And other things may come along, and I'm constantly working to be like, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to do that. Like it is a battle for me. Whereas my husband, he regularly tells people no. Like he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not. No, no, no. Just like, no. He's like, his baseline is no.
He start he starts with no.
It starts with no.
Yeah.
And he very seldom shifts gears, but it does make him highly effective, highly productive in his area of interest and concentration, which is directing. And directing does require by nature of the job its own level of focus that you just can't do it if you're not if
Yeah.
you
A hard
you just
sense of
can't do it.
focus. Yeah.
You just can't do it
Yeah.
if you're not focused at all. But he extends that in every other thing. Like,
Yeah.
no, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And he's a writer too, so he's very good about finishing the idea and finishing the script before he jumps to another one. Um, where I again have my rotation of scripts spinning.
Mm.
But the like I said, the change has come where I just do one thing at a time before I move to the next thing, and I try and keep, deadlines in order. And I'm not adding anything new to my roster. Like these things that I listed out are the only things I am doing. It's the only things I have been doing, and I can mark this pilot off of my list. And
Yeah.
then I'm going to mark the feature that I'm collaborating with my mentor on off the list probably in another couple weeks. And then I'm going to keep going. So by the end of the year, I want to finish these things. Like I want all of
Mm.
those things finished. I started at the top of the year with this list of things that I wanted to write. The idea is to finish them all by the end of the year. So there won't be any more new writing assignments I'm trying to add on. Some things have come up, I've already said no to them, and I will continue to say no. Like at one point, my reps were like, "Do you want to think about, developing something else?" No, I don't. I don't. My plate is full. And it's really important to accept that your plate is full and just keep it moving. So you're not doing all-nighters. You should not be doing all-nighters to finish things. That's not a thing that shouldn't be a thing because the next day you cannot be focused. Your mind is too tired. um and this is just it doesn't I'm going to kind of deviate, or what is going to feel like a deviation, because I don't think you necessarily think of it as a thing you would need to do to be focused, but it's fixing the parts of you that is broken. Fix the parts of you that are broken in order for you to be focused. That means if you have limited thinking, if you feel like you have been so hurt by your past life, you got to fix those things. Because when you're trying to sit in the quiet spaces and you're trying to focus, all those little demons will pop up and they will manifest itself in doubt. They will manifest themselves in saying, "You're not as good as you think you are. Why don't you go and do something else?" Like it will come back and find you. Whatever your past, and people have gotten, and there's a whole group of people who can just bury it, bury it, bury it. But that thing will find you still, and it will find you in your worst moment when you're supposed to be enjoying the fruits of your labor, your struggle, all the things you've done to accomplish those dreams you've had, to master your dreams. Those demons will find you, and they will make what should be a joyous moment very painful. You gotta fix them. It's going to be like a siren when you're at sea. It's going to keep calling to you and eat you up alive.
And big facts.
So it's really important that you acknowledge past hurts, past pain, past failures that aren't failures, that are actually successes. We have to reevaluate and rethink how we think of failure. Failure is success. You cannot have success without a multitude of failures. Failures actually give you a roadmap, sort of like, the pinball machines when the pinball goes and it hits the thing. Okay, well, that's the way you can't go anymore. Once you hit that failure, you should know don't go that way no more. You got to go this way and this way and this way and this way and this way until you get to the point. It's a blessing to be able to say, I failed multiple times, because that tells me you're not a quitter. You are fortunate to be able to say you had another tank of gas in you to keep fighting. It is a blessing to be able to say somebody else came to you and said, hey, I heard you were doing XYZ. I'm going to help you. I'm going to come along and help you. If you had quit, no one would have known to find you. So I think we have to reframe failure and look at that also as a focusing thing, as a focusing mechanism. If you have a failure, now you can double down on whatever that thing is and keep going forward, because now you know a path, and it will inevitably lead to an area you don't want to go or you don't want to be.
Oh man, you gave them some good gems right there, Lorna. Man, so many great nuggets, and I'm gonna just kind of recap from my notes that I'm taking from what you said here. I think with starting with the definition of focus, I agree that I think it's having that clear vision, that ability to be able to concentrate on one thing, right? And so I also think that first off, I think it's a blessing to be able to have the problem to where you have to focus, because that means that you're doing some good stuff, right? So if you're in those shoes where you have that problem of, man, I love your now spinning the plates. Man, I am spinning the plates. uh, man, that is a blessing, because a whole lot of people don't have that. And so, in that reframing, like you talked about, you have to reframe it and know that, and that's a blessing to be able to do that. Now that you know that, then you have that awareness, and then now you have to take the effort to do the work, like you said, do the behind the scenes work to be the best version of you, so that you can learn to focus and be the best version of yourself for everything that you're involved in. And that requires a process of living and learning, like you explained, we all have to figure out those things in life that allow us to move forward and not hold us back.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, like, we're our own worst enemy and holding ourselves back. So we have to do, I believe, that inner work. And I love how you talked about, failures being a roadmap, reframing failure, which I agree, it helps you have that focus mechanism. It helps you build that focus muscle, if you will. Ooh, when I did this the last time, that wasn't so good. Let's not do that again. Let's go the other way. Right? Uh, let's not do that. So, man, so many good gems that you drop. Just wanted to kind of piggyback and kind of say those again, so the audience, so we make sure that they get those gems. But
Yeah.
and you touched base on a little bit of this, but I'll ask the question: why is it important to have focus?
I think it goes back to living, I think it goes back to having your dreams come true. I mean, that sounds so like, make your dreams come true. Like, but it's true. It's so important for us to live outside of the walls that we exist in.
Oh, hold on, wait a
I,
minute. You got to give them that one again. Hold on. You got to woo. Hey, girl, let's not skip that one. Give them that one again.
live outside of the walls you live in, you physically live in. Your mind should live beyond the walls you physically live in. We both grew up in a very rural town.
Come on.
We didn't see a whole lot.
Come on.
We
I
we
was
didn't see
waiting for
a
you
whole
to say
lot.
it because I was going to say that. Come
I
on.
mean, I
Yep.
watched TV like you did, but
Yep.
I didn't see what I'm dreaming or the dream I'm living in right now. I didn't see that. I created the world in my head and decided I'm going to be in that world that I made. And I don't think I articulated it when I was having the dream. I was like, "Oh, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that." And once you say, "I'm going to do that, and this is my dream, and this is the thing in my head that I'm going to make manifest," you have to now start listing out all the things you have to do to accomplish what you said is your dream. Now, sometimes I heard this said, I feel like it was a David Goggins thing as well, that your dream is your master. And I don't know if that's, I mean, I get it, but I don't. I think the, I think it was more like, or I think it is for me that you will idealize your dream and just put it on a pedestal and you won't touch it. It's an idol now. And so to a certain degree, it's your master, it's your trophy. Oh, this is my dream. And you like talking about the dream, but not taking action on the dream. Take action on the dream. Remove the dream and replace it with actionable steps. Those actionable steps is where your focus comes. When I said I wanted to be a TV writer, I was like, okay, well, how am I going to do this? This is like, whoa, like, how am I going to do this? I don't know anybody. I don't have connects. I mean, I listen to some of these Nepo babies get super offended when they're called Nepo babies. And I'm like, why are you offended? Because I bet your Christmas party, your birthday parties look real different than mine. The people attending your Christmas party and the people attending your birthday party look real different than mine. And I guarantee half those people at your Christmas party and birthday party when you were 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 are hooking you up right now or saw you as a child. And now they're like, oh my God, you're all grown up. Oh my God. They know you. It's the privilege of being known. It's the privilege of being recognized and understood. Like I had to do all these things to get people to know me and to be willing to read me. Like they didn't have to do that. And I will only shout out the people who articulated it so beautifully. And that was Ice Cube's son, O'Shea. He had a beautiful response to his privilege, and Kaya Gerber, who is Claudia, Cindy Crawford's daughter. Those two people, I feel like, articulated their inherent privilege of knowledge, because I don't think we talk enough about the knowledge. I think what we're doing right now is so important because we're giving people knowledge and understanding that they didn't receive from their home life. They didn't get it. Those people got it from their home life in spades just by watching their parents do business, by hearing how they spoke to people, using words that they just picked up by listening to their home. That those words weren't used. All of those words weren't used. We had to learn those words. We had to learn those words. We had to learn them through much sweat.
Yes.
There was a lot of sweat equity
For
in
sure.
in the things that we have acquired along the way. I am grateful for my sweat equity. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. And I know all of those children born to hardworking parents also work very hard. No one's taking away their hard work, dedication. But I will say that there is an inherent privilege and to being around the family and the family friends. So now that I have deeply digressed from our focus topic.
Now that we're not focused on what we focusing on, which is the focus topic,
We're gonna go back to our focus
go
topic.
go back to our focus topic. Yeah,
I know the focus topic was in terms of just being in a
yeah,
space inside, like living outside. You're in a smaller place.
yeah,
Your mind,
yeah.
um, your mind needs to conceive something bigger for yourself and then create actionable steps for you to get there. And then I went down this rabbit hole.
But let me go back. Let me go back before you go forward, because I
Yeah,
want to kind of
yeah,
break something down too. You talked about like where we're from and what we saw, um, and the things that we didn't see, so we had to live beyond our walls.
yes,
But then I also want to go back to the importance of, and you talked about how, Cube and, those, popular, famous people and their
yeah,
lineage. But but then now I was thinking about our lineage and what we had, right? So we may not have seen any of the stuff we're doing right now, right? You and I, like none of the stuff, like all this stuff I'm doing. I ain't never seen this, man. Like this is new, y'all. This is like this is different, right? But but what we did see was a great foundation of focus,
yes,
right? And so the seeds of focus, you know, they were planted within us to where there were expectations. No, boy, you gonna make good grades. You're like, no, that's you gonna do that. Like, no, you gonna be respect. No, you're gonna do that. That's some focus for you, right? Focus
that's
that,
exactly
okay,
true.
right? And
So
so
true.
those things that were planted in us, um, which they were immensely focused about, it it made a generation of focus, which I think has helped us. Like even
Yes,
though we hadn't seen those things, the seeds of a great firm foundation of focus and principles and core common values and beliefs have been planted into us, and we didn't even know it, right?
no, we did not. I think focus, to your point, focus and discipline go hand in hand. You
Mhm.
know, our parents were like, "You're gonna, no, you're gonna do that.
Yeah, boy, you gonna do that.
You're gonna do that."
Yeah,
And that requires a certain level of discipline. It's discipline to stay
it is.
focused.
Yep.
And what I appreciate what the gentleman from Apple said was that you have to be able to just you have to be able to say no, but also um gosh, what did he now I just it just went away from my brain. It just said, "Bye, Lorna. Don't talk about me anymore."
you, you were talking about you saying no to things that are important to you. You said that the guy heard the Gates guy, right, Bill?
hmm
Yeah.
hmm
So you got what are you saying no to? You have to say no to things that are immensely important. That's what you were saying
Yes.
earlier.
Yeah. Yeah. Say no to things that are immensely important to you,
Yeah.
even if you want to do it, but that requires a muscle and a discipline.
Mhm.
I think that's going back to muscle and a discipline. Like our parents did teach us discipline, if nothing else, like discipline. And that discipline is the nugget that we use to generate focus
Yes.
to stay the course on things that we wanted to do and the dreams to help us create dreams that we are now living in and still executing actionable plans to accomplish. Like we still have another ladder, a rung of the ladder that we're climbing, and you do have to stay focused or you're going to fall off. I think that's the biggest thing and the biggest challenge is to stay on the ladder, stay focused on moving upward on the task at hand. And with every rung of the ladder, it gets harder and harder and steeper and steeper. But if for a minute you look down, you're going to go down. So I think that's probably the analogy that for this I really love is like you have to keep your eyes on the prize and keep moving forward. Looking down is dizzying. You'll be like, oh my God. I think it's you just got to keep going, keep going.
Yeah, sometimes I love how you say dizzying. Like, I don't know if I want to look down to see how far I've gone. That's kind of scary, right? Like, I don't know if I want to do that.
But at some point when you hit the plateau, you have to be able to stand on that ridge because,
Yeah,
at every point in the ladder, there's a plateau area,
yeah,
right? And the plateau is very symbolic because either you can plateau and stay at this very comfortable place and look out at the wonderful view, and you can stay there and it's good. Or there's the other level of the ladder. And I think the plateau is just meant for you to enjoy the fruits of your labor. It's
mm,
to reward yourself, but it's not meant for you to stop.
yeah,
You
yeah.
got to max out on life. If you see another ladder, you got to take the ladder.
And that brings me to the point too. I think how we've talked about, the upbringing, the family, the ladders, the continuing to get better. I think it brings about transferable skills too,
Ooh,
right? And so
yes.
everything that you are involved in, you can bring those skills with you, and it allows you to move more efficiently and effectively um, as you go. All of the things that are behind us that we've had to grow through, woo, that was kind of tough, right? But now, we've kind of figured out some things, and like I know Chip, right?
Yeah.
Like I know what Chip likes. I know what makes I am talking third person. I know what makes me tick, right?
I don't mind third person.
Yeah, yeah. I know what makes me tick. I know what excites me. I know what I struggle with. And that goes back to the inner work that you talked about earlier, right? Along that journey, you put in that inner work, but you learn so many transferable skills. Oh
Oof.
man! And so here's the blessing. Here's the big thing. Get ready. I'm gonna hit you with this one. This is good, right? So here's the good one. The good part comes like our family did for us when we can take those things that we've learned by our experiences and use those to share with the next generation so that they can be better and move more efficiently and effectively.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I find that I share a lot with my daughter. I share a lot
Yeah,
of things that I learned later with her.
yeah.
Um, and that's really been really beautiful. Um, that's been really, really
It's a
beautiful.
it's a great it's a great place
So
to be. And then when you see them execute those things, mm,
good.
man, it's so good.
It's so good. It is
Yeah.
so good. It's really wonderful. Um, yeah, man, you said so much. I'm like, oh, I was about to say this, but then I was like, it was like, where's that
Which
coming
way?
from? It was all so good. The transferable skills. That's just, yeah, that's the place you stand. You're enabling your children to skip steps,
Oh,
you know, skip
so
steps.
good.
You're enabling them to learn things that took you years to learn.
Yep.
And the thing about it is nothing is lost. I think when people get off track, and you're not as focused as you want to be, and then you're like, oh, I'm just doing all these other things, and you feel all over the place, and you're like, okay, I need to get back to center. But just know that the things that you were doing will not be lost. Everything, everything you have done will be used. You will realize that that thing that you got off track to do will help you in the thing you're currently working on. So I'm not necessarily saying everything happens for a reason, but I am saying everything will work out for your good. Everything will work out for your good. So no matter if you think, oh, this thing um, has no connection, I'll go back to myself with the hosting. Um, I thought they were two different things. I was like, oh, talk show and writing and like being in a writer's room and writing for TV, but so much intersectionality because I'm in a room full of people and you have to understand people. And when you're talk show hosting, you are understanding a part of human nature in order to share and help people. And so, and then being able to communicate thoughts to people is what literally I'm doing in a room. I'm pitching ideas, and I have to be able to communicate the idea well enough so the other writers can say, oh, I like that, or no, I don't think that works. But you have to be able to communicate exceptionally well, whatever is in your mind, so that people can can rock with it. And I never would have I never would have thought that. So nothing is ever lost. But I do think that everything is gained when you can settle your mind, stay in the present, select the thing that you're working on that means the most to you, and just do that thing. And it's easier. You'll find that it's so much easier. I was like, oh, I didn't feel as stressed. I was like, this is so much easier. Why haven't I done this before? I mean, it's still hard. Everything is hard, but what I was doing was making everything harder because I was already climbing a mountain. And then I put a backpack on. Then I put heavier boots on that was necessary. Then I put shoulder pads. I was like, why do I have all this unnecessary gear that I don't need to climb this already difficult mountain? So the moment I started stripping things off that I didn't need, the climb got better. It's still a climb, but it got better. Make your climb better. Make your already difficult climb easier. Stop focusing on things that you don't need to do. Pick the thing you love, pick the dream on the vision board, create your actionable steps, and just do that and knock it out to the best of your ability because everything you do must be excellent. It must be excellent. It's too competitive of a market no matter what you're doing, it's just all too competitive for you not to be excellent. And that's why you have to focus. It's not because, oh, I just need to do this one thing. It's because that one thing needs to be perfect. The one thing. And I don't mean to say perfect because perfect is the enemy of the good and the great. So it has to be the best version that you can create, the most excellent version that you can create. And you have to put everything into that one thing. When women are having babies, their body is only focused on the baby. Like you got to eat enough nutrition because the mother's body will fall apart, but that baby's going to be great. That baby's going to be great. When you have that baby, your hair is going to fall out if you didn't eat the right foods. Your nails are going to break off. You have to double up on everything because your body's saying, I'm only focused on making this baby. And your project, your dreams are your baby. Everything should be focused on your baby. You will you will lose sleep, your hair may fall out, you will lose weight, or maybe you'll gain weight depending on what the stress level is, but you're going to make that baby. So that's what you need to be thinking about, making the baby, focusing on the baby. And you'll get it done and it will be beautiful and it will be great and you'll continue to care for it and nurture it and it'll bring you the most joy ever, as it should, as it should.
I just really have one word in response to that. That was so good. The word is boom. Let's go. Man, that is so good and so true. Be the best version. Some things I heard. I think underlying tone in there was effort. And I rock with effort all day, man. Just show me some effort. That shows me that you care and you're trying. That shows me that you're focused. That shows me that it means something to you.
Means something to you. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Oh,
so
that's good.
yeah, yeah. So man, I know I had another question, but I think that's great for us to end on because and that was so good. But as we close, I'd love for you to share with the audience where they can go follow you, check you out, show you some love with all the amazing work you have going on, Lorna.
Oh, thank you. I'm on Instagram, Lorna, Lorna _ I know it's not a dash. underscore dear, like you're writing a letter, DEAR, dear. And that's my Instagram handle, also my Threads handle. So I'm on both Instagram and Threads. They tethered them together. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, good deal, Lauren. I want to tell you again, thank you so much for
Thank
taking the
you.
time to do the focus topic. And I think it'll truly be a blessing to people that will have an opportunity to check it out. And so thank you again for that. And thank you, audience, for checking out this session. We'll see you next time. God bless.
God bless. Thank you.
Go get it.